So, I recently came across someone I've known for a really long time. Sorry, hair issue, can't see. Um, Need a haircut. So I recently came across someone who has known me for years, and I've mentioned to several people that I have PTSD, but they don't actually know what that is, and one of them finally asked me about it, and because they're like, you're like all the things I know about PTSD, you're not any of them. And I'm like, well, what do you know about it? And they're like, well, it happens after you're in war and all these different things. And so I've compiled a list of misconceptions about PTSD and how does society view PTSD? Because there are a lot of things out there that are true only in rare cases, or they're not true at all, to be honest. And it drives me up a wall when someone is knows nothing, or rather some things, on PTSD, and then they just are like, oh, I know everything about you. I know where you sleep. Oh, it's not that bad. And then, but they have that crazy look in their eye that I just had. Yeah, it gets really weird sometimes. And so I have to kind of backtrack and explain what PTSD is, and then go back to the misconceptions. Seeing as how you're already watching this video, you probably know what PTSD is, so I'm not gonna explain that. I have other videos explaining that. There are other resources on the internet. Use them. Google is wonderful. So is YouTube. But there's not that much on YouTube, which is why I'm making this video. Anyways, so I made a list of misconceptions that I found across the internet, Tumblr, government websites, whatever. No conspiracy theories. Just because I go to a government website doesn't mean there are conspiracy theories. That's a whole nother thing. Okay, so the first thing is that it only affects war veterans. And this is utterly false. Society only tends to see the war veterans because war is considered a political topic, so it's talked about frequently. But for people who experience trauma through, say, domestic violence or rape, it's a social issue. And so it's considered like drinking would be. And it's not a problem. And it's not a suitable topic to be talking about. Which is why most people don't know that you can get PTSD from other things other than war. The second one I came across was people who don't recover from trauma or have PTSD are weak. This is not true. First of all, if you made it through the trauma the first time, you're definitely not weak, whatever happened. People who don't talk about things are probably faking it. Like the people who don't talk about it immediately or don't talk about it till like 10 years later. For me, I didn't start talking about some of this stuff that happened till over 3 years after it happened. A lot of it, to be honest. And my friends are like, oh my god, how did you make it through high school without happening to you? And I'm like, I don't know, I just did. It was survival. To be honest, the first half of high school, I was like drunk. So, most of the time. So I don't remember much of it. Yeah. Anyways, enough about me. Um, oh, this one's my favorite. So, everyone has a little bit of PTSD who's gone through something harsh. This is not true. You can't have a little bit of PTSD. You either have it or you don't. There's no in between category in this. Um, PTSD is where the memories and flashbacks of the trauma go on for an extended period of time and they disturb your everyday life. For me, I have problems um, going out in public a lot. Whenever I'm in public and I'm alone, as soon as I get into my truck, like before the door is even shut, I lock the door. So as soon as it shuts, I know that no one's gonna come and like grab my door open and try to beat the crap out of me or anything weird like that. Sorry, I'm having a lot of hand motions today. Yeah, anyways. Okay. Um, Only men can get PTSD. This is not true. Um, it's tend to be more known in society back to the war veteran thing. Most war veterans are men because when they came up with the I guess the diagnosis of PTSD, it was because of Vietnam War veterans, which were pretty much exclusively male, although there were some female nurses. But this is not a history lesson. Anyway, so people always think that people with PTSD are extremely unstable and violent. This is not correct. Although a lot of them can have a problem with self-harming or drinking. Well, self-harm includes drinking, eating disorders, any kind of cutting, or anything like that. There's other things involved, but those are the main ones. Um, are not violent towards other people. It's an extremely small amount of people that do that. I'd have to look up the statistics, but you only hear about those people on the news because all the news is anymore is they don't report happy things. They report depressing things because that's what makes good news. That's what gets your attention. That's what gets you to watch the news station. Um, but very few people are actually that way. So don't worry about that. And if you knew the person before, just watch them and you'll probably see. They might be extremely anxious around people, but they're not going to get violent. So, although when some people are drunk, they do tend to go towards that end, but most of the time that's not the case. You can be cured with one treatment. There is no such thing as a cure for PTSD. Um, it can have chemical imbalances going, and you can take antidepressants for that, which in one way is a cure, but it's something you have to take every day to make it happen. Um, but most times it takes several years of therapy to even get anywhere with it because someone who has PTSD, the trauma is ingrained in them. PTSD sufferers are unable to function in the real world. This is untrue. I know because I am someone who is functioning, and I have pretty bad PTSD. Although I'm not doing so hot the last 6 months, I do function, and I do get things done. As a matter of fact, I have a 4.0 GPA grade average in college. So, we can function. But sometimes it takes a lot more effort. Like, I have to read things 2 or 3 times to even be able to, like, understand it. If I hear it, it's a lot better. Um, especially, especially if I'm actually, like, awake. If I'm tired, all bets are off. But that's kind of normal with everyone. So, one really common thing I hear is once the memory is gone, you don't get it back. The thing about PTSD is you can have something that triggers a memory that you blocked out years down the road. I recently had something that I remembered in some several flashbacks and nightmares recently that happened almost 5 years ago. So it's the memories can come back and they can create problems. But if you deal with those problems when they need to be dealt with, when they first pop up, then it shouldn't be a problem. But people who think they know a lot and know very little tend to be the problems, and they tend to, and these misconceptions are the roots of those problems. So that's why, yeah. Anyways, so oh, since I'm thinking about it, I actually found a scar gel I really like. It's called Dr. Sheffield's. Just a second, let me go grab it. is absolutely wonderful. It's a blue tube. It's about, I don't know, 6 inches or so. I actually found it at the dollar store or Dollar Tree, whatever you want to call it. So it's $1 for a tube, and there's, well, it's 1 ounce, but my stuff goes pretty far because I have a lot of scars. But it took me about 3 weeks to go through one tube, and I use it 3 times a day, like they tell you to. So that's actually quite a bit. Um, but the stuff works great. I hope this helped anyone out who is having problems with the misconceptions, and maybe you can find ways to explain them to people. Because I frequently do that because it's kind of a well known fact for people who know me that I have PTSD. Because um, I'm very outright with it, and it's practically tattooed on my forehead to anyone who knows me for more than 10 minutes. So, yeah. Anyways, so I hope you guys are having a good day.